Hello everybody, my name is Dion Myers and I'm the owner and founder of Love to Yoga. Thank you so much for enrolling on the Beginners Yoga class, which is a 6-week course running through the basics of yoga to try and give you a strong foundation when coming to any yoga class. The practice that you're going to be practicing is just a general yoga class where you'll go through some of the basic sequences and flows to give you a good understanding of yoga. Alongside the course, I'm going to send you a weekly email with some tips and some short practices to help embed the knowledge and the practice of yoga. With that in mind, one of the best tips that I have when you're new to yoga is to try lots of different classes and lots of different teachers. Everybody is different and every yoga teacher delivers yoga in a different way. So when you come to the studio or any studio, don't necessarily just stick with one teacher and one type of yoga. See which one really resonates with you. I offer an introductory offer at the studio, so maybe after this course or alongside you could purchase a 30-day pass, which is for £40, and it means you can come to the studio as often as you like, trying all the different teachers and the different styles of yoga. If you're doing the beginner's course and you feel like you want to try something slightly different, then I offer a gentle yoga class every Thursday night at 6:15, which you're very welcome to join. It's a really good class for beginners, for people who are dealing with injury, for people who are looking just to have a nice relaxing class and to really deeply connect and tune into their body. So everybody is welcome to that gentle yoga class on a Thursday night. So what about these tips that I was telling you about earlier? Well, the first tip that I have when it's about starting yoga or committing to a regular yoga practice is not to worry about what you think other people are thinking about you. So not to worry about what you look like or how people perceive you. Really try and sink into the practice and get deep into your body. I often encourage students when they can to close their eyes so they can actually feel the asana and the breath work moving through them. Also, on the other side of that, sometimes people are a little bit nervous about how they look going into strange positions and moving in a certain way. I often get comments from students about, oh, my bum's too big, or I feel really conscious about standing here in front of the class. And you often find, and I bet you're one of them, that you move right to the back of the class and try and hide away. Well, in this studio, there's no hiding. We can see you all, and it's really, in order for you to kind of see what the teacher's doing, I would encourage you to try and come to the front so you can see what's going on. Also, people aren't bothered about what you look like or how you come, so you don't need to wear anything fancy, just as long as you're comfortable. And also, don't worry about your feet too. Often people come to a beginner's class and they try and keep their socks on, and often it's because they don't like the look of their feet, or they haven't painted their toenails, or they've got dry skin on the soles of their feet. I promise you, we don't look at feet in that way. What we are looking at is that your feet are in the correct position and that you are safe when you're moving through the postures. So don't worry about the look of your feet. Try and take your socks off so that your soles of the feet are grounded to the mat. Your feet then grip to the mat so you're less likely to slip. But also when your bare feet are on the floor, you're actually getting the benefit of the sole's contact with the earth and the movements through yoga. So if you're into reflexology, you're aware that there's certain parts of the feet that connect to different parts of the body, and that's how, by having your feet on the floor, the yoga is moving through the channels in your body to get to where they need to in order for you to feel the benefit. So if you can, take your socks off. Keep them by you, because at the end of class we do a relaxation. You'll want to make sure you're nice and warm, so you might want to put your socks on at the end. The other tip that I have is to breathe. Now, often when we're new to something or we're really trying to concentrate, we tend to hold the breath. Yoga is not just about fancy movements and flexibility. It's more about the breath than anything else, and really trying to connect with your breath. So try and breathe as fully as you can when you're in your class. Listen to the teacher who will be giving you instruction. But also outside of class, take a few moments every day. Maybe you're sitting at the traffic lights, maybe you're waiting for the kettle to boil, where you can just take some deep conscious breaths in and out in the body. Usually when we're busy, we're moving around our normal lives, we tend to not breathe in or breathe out fully, which means we hold stagnant breath and stagnant energy in the body, which then leads to tension and can cause a little bit of problems, or even stagnant energy can create sort of like negative energy in your body and help to lower your energy levels and your patience and just general mood. So big breaths in and out as often as you can. And then as often as you can leads us on quite nicely to the yoga postures. In order for you to feel the full benefit of yoga, you need some sort of regular practice. Now that doesn't mean you have to come to class every day and practice 6 days a week religiously. What it does mean though is to have some short movements on a daily basis in your life. So if it means 5 or 10 minutes every day doing some gentle swing or forward falls, there's a posture that we're going to go through definitely in this beginner's course, but I'll show you later on, called cat-cow, which is a really nice way to kind of open up and stretch through the spine. On a regular basis, adding some of these movements, you'll see a big difference within your practice and within yourself within a few weeks of regular practice. So little and often, 5-10 minutes every day. Maybe before you go to bed at night, maybe first thing in the morning, or perhaps just on a tea time when you're getting the kids' tea ready, or whatever it is. See if you can spare 5 or 10 minutes every day and just do a little bit of movement. The next tip that I have is for you to not worry about your flexibility. Flexibility is not important, and often people would say, I'd love to come to yoga, I'd love to try yoga, but I'm not flexible, I've never been able to touch my toes. Well, if that's the case, you're the type of person that really needs yoga in your life. Flexibility comes over time. So just like I mentioned earlier, practice on a regular basis, your flexibility will actually improve. So don't force yourself, don't push yourself, just be accepting of your body and where it is today. Your body is where it needs to be for today. And then when you come on a regular basis, you'll notice a subtle change. And one of the biggest joys that I have as a teacher is seeing those students who practice on a regular basis, seeing them move and develop their yoga practice. The last tip that I have for you is about, have I forgot it? 1 second. Look at me, very efficient. The last tip that I've got for you, little and often, this one, I don't know how I forgot this because I say this every day to my students. The poses that you least like are probably the poses that your body needs the most. And I'll tell you a little story of regards to this. So I've been practicing yoga for well over 20 years, and I can remember my first couple of classes that I attended, and the teacher was getting us to do a downward facing dog, and this pose felt absolutely alien to me. It felt really uncomfortable. I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. I hated it, and I dreaded every time the teacher asked us to move into this position. Now, as a yoga teacher and doing yoga, it's strange now that I need to do one of these poses every day, or my day doesn't feel right. Downward dog actually stretches through the entire body, and it's one of the best poses that you can do to kind of give you a nice big stretch and open up your body when you're practicing. But for months and years, I wasn't aware if I was doing it correctly, and because of that, that's why I didn't like it. And I kind of had this negative talk to myself that I didn't like it, and I just was quite conflicted by it, and I kind of put up a wall, and no matter what happened, I didn't like it, which meant I didn't progress in my yoga practice for a while. Eventually, I found the guts to speak to my teacher, and at the end of class, I asked the teacher if they would have a look at my downward dog and tell me if I was doing it right. And the teacher quickly put me to rest and said, Dion, if you were doing it wrong, I would have shown you and I would have taught you in class you're doing it right. So then I asked, well, why does it feel so uncomfortable? And the teacher said that not all things in life have to be very comfortable, but often it's because I'm not breathing correctly, and maybe I'm putting a little bit too much pressure where I need to. So after a little bit of adjustments that the teacher gave me, I was able to, over time, settle into this position. And now, like I say, it's my go-to pose every day. And if you come to my classes, you will probably do at least one, probably more downward facing dogs, because they're just so good for the whole of the body. So yeah, so there's my tips, and I do ramble on a little bit, so I'm going to get to the yoga now. So the next video that you're going to watch, I'm going to show you some techniques that I have to help strengthen the wrists, which is one of the main problems that beginners in yogas have when they're first getting into a practice, that they often find that their wrists are not strong enough, and at the end of class they often get achy wrists. So I'm going to show you a few techniques to help support you with that. See you soon. Many thanks. Bye.